So we got a real story that I want to deviate from, where we've got stash houses full of illegal immigrants. And so I'm like, I'm gonna talk about that. I'm not gonna talk about one missing person when there could literally, I could talk about other missing people. How about all the people being smuggled by human traffickers?
There you go.
That's not the news.
You got to get a video on them. That's it, man. People
there's tons of
they
video.
believe what they see out of sight, out of
And
mind.
video. And put it on TikTok.
Just
That's
go
how
on
you
my
get
Twitter.
viral.
We got the video
Of all the people being smuggled.
Yeah, smuggled into the country at record numbers, and
some of these
they
kids
don't make the news.
These kids are used. So some smuggler will take a child, kidnap him, and then they'll use it to cross the border and say, it's my child.
Yep.
And then as soon as they cross the border, they throw the kid and they walk away.
Or they return him.
They'll return the kid and give it to somebody else. And this kid has no idea what's going on. It's just being used as a trafficking tool so that bleeding hearts can be like, the poor baby, we should make sure they're unified with their parent. And you're like, that's not the kid's parent, dude. That's a smuggler trying to circumvent the law, claiming that kid is theirs. Well, we don't know that. That's the problem when they talk about child separation. They just make up, oh, Trump was so evil, he separated parents from their kids. How do we know those kids are related to those old
parents,
people?
Yeah,
we don't.
Even last night, Tim, I was in Roma, Texas, and we were documenting the human smugglers bringing in these Nicaraguan migrants, and there was one man you could tell he had a little boy with him. You could tell that he wasn't the dad. He was grabbing him rough, and when we had the cameras out, he was just acting really frantic and nervous. It's like we're watching in real time, and where's the media? This is what we're seeing at the border is impacting brown and black lives. At a record number, all the human smuggling, the trafficking. Like I said, July and August is the first time in Border Patrol history that back-to-back month over 200 apprehensions. I mean, you can only imagine all the kids. And like I said, we witnessed it last night. There was this man just grabbing this kid, almost like manhandling him. And I'm like, yo, I mean, look what's going on. And Border Patrol is like, we know what's going on. That's not the dad. And that's happening every single day. And when we're down there documenting the human smuggling, one thing that I always come to mind is like, this is just a little bit part of a border that we're able to see. Could you imagine the rest of it in Arizona to New Mexico and Texas? And it's happening every day. It's become like the new normal over there. Like over there, that Roma, Texas, they're used to having their wraps drop off, kids, sex traffic, human smuggling. Like I said, they had those bracelets, so you could keep track with the proof of purchase. And that's not making the news. That's not making the headlines. That should be like our top thing. Like we actually have a humanitarian crisis at our border. I don't know if the rest of America just because it's the United States, when people think humanitarian crisis, they think Yemen or the Middle East, but we literally have one here at the southern border, and it's happening every single day. It's happening right now while we're speaking.
To some extent, like people are like desensitized to it. Like since like the drum was being beaten since like 2017, like the first like Trump puts kids in cages. That was the first time when people were like, oh, there's an actual crisis at the border. And then from there, it's like today, it's like,
oh, it got dropped.
Just get dropped. It's like different group of people. Back then it was Mexico. Now it's like what, Haitians.
And I was speaking to a Border Patrol agent in these border facilities, right? They're in these rooms that they call pods, and these pods, they're only meant for like 8 migrants at a time.
Yeah.
Border Patrol agent was telling me there's like 400 people in these 8-person pods each, stacked on against each other.
How many?
Like 400 in each room, where they're only meant for 8. Like he said, there people are literally sleeping on top of each other. Like he was texting me all this information. He's like, hey, with these Haitians, it's even worse. And that a lot of those Haitian males, they came with young children, and he's like, we're trying to break them up, from the real fathers and not. But they're like, there's so many migrants, there's just not enough that we could do. And even NBC News put out a report last month that those migrants are being sexually assaulted in those facilities. There's no way to keep track of them. The New York Times put out a report last month that one out of every 3 migrant children released into the United States, they lose track of.
Biden was smuggling kids across the United States. Remember that story?
Yep.
There's video of it, and that stuff just disappears. And the funny thing is, Joe Biden's approval rating didn't take a hit from it.
Nope.
Can I see one of those wristbands?
Well, let's.
Can I have one of those? Are you giving? Can I have one of those to keep? Thanks, man. This is it. If you want to remember, I want to remember this. Thanks, dude.
And this is just like the reason why I kind of collect them and kind of bring them is just to kind of show the kind of like the American audience, like this is happening in real time. And they say, on these bracelets, they say entregas, which means delivered. And they actually treat these migrants like almost like an Amazon product, like a shipment.
Huh.
So 2 things either happen. Either the migrants have already paid, so they'll be, they'll cross and, they'll be released into the United States. Or 2 is if they didn't pay their full price, then they'll be essentially become indentured servants and slaves here in the United States.
In California.
Yeah, then you can see like the little kids always have these bracelets on their ankles, so they can't like easily come off. So it's just It's crazy to see it in person, and that it's literally happening in the United States. And one Border Patrol source told me that the cartels are making up to $14 million a day just off human smuggling, not even counting their
Where does this
drug
money
profits.
come from?
It's the cartel money.
Like
It's yeah.
no.
Well, the cartels are really
migrants are in the cartels.
no. The cartels are really smart. Is when they get connected with these migrants, these huge caravans, is the majority of like the Central Americans, they already have family in the States. So what the cartels do is they get connected with the family in the States, and they make them pay the $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 for that fee. So it's very well organized, and the people back in the States,
where do they get that money from?
the family that already lives here in the United States.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like so
they
like,
send their money back to the
yeah.
people.
So, instance,
Okay.
like I was interviewing a couple Salvadoran families that like they had to pay a coyote like $7,000 to get like their cousins here to the border. So like the cartels are smart. They'll get connected with the family members back in the U.S. They'll make them pay the fee because they have the money, and that's how they kind of organize and get here. And like I said, and if they don't pay the fee, they essentially become indentured servants.